What's up, everybody? My name's Paul Parsons. I've been surfing since I was about 13 years old. I used to surf competitively back in the early 2000s. In fact, one I placed third in and had to come back home here to Sacramento. We have a little place in Santa Cruz that we go down to and we'll vacation there on weekends or whenever we can. It's our second home. But I had to come back to work that day, got a phone call, hey Paul, you placed third, and they told me, hey, you got this big, beautiful trophy, man, you're gonna dig it, but you're not here, we gave it to somebody, next time you're down here, come and pick it up. And I was like, sweet. So the whole week I was just looking forward to it. Went back down on my weekend and I'm like, where's the trophy? And they're like, we're sorry, man, we don't know what happened to it. So I never got it, big bummer. That would have been really cool to have. I consider myself an advanced surfer. I was a part of the Big Stick Surfing Association. I think I still am. I'm not sure though. I haven't been to a meeting in a long time. I don't know if that disqualifies you. I also make my own surfboards too. Anyways, with that being said, let's start on the first thing we need to talk about, surfing etiquette. Alright, let's go through some of these surfing etiquette rules. So this is posted outside of Steamer Lane in Santa Cruz, California, a very famous spot. Rule number 1, first surfer on wave has right of way. I agree with that to a point. There is a thing that's called a wave hog. And if you can surf a little better than the other surfers around you and you kind of understand how to read a wave, you can catch a wave, paddle back out, catch another wave. And you'll know how to stand up before everybody else stands up. And if you do that, it's called a wave hog, and you're a jerk, and it's very disrespectful to your fellow surfers. But typically, most surfers that are very good surfers, they don't do this because there's nothing to prove. They don't have a chip on their shoulder. They're very nice, kind people, and they'll share waves with you greatly. I remember when I surfed with Jay Moriarty, me and him would just share waves back and forth, and I was a nobody, and he's freaking Jay Moriarty. And he would give me whatever wave I wanted to take. We surfed waves together. Just keep that in mind. You don't want to be a wave hog. Rule number 2, paddle around waves, not through it. I do agree with this. However, when I was taught how to surf, I was always taught to eat the whitewater, which means if you're paddling out and there's a wave that's breaking in front of you and there's a surfer that's on that wave and he's coming across the face of that wave, and in order to get out of this surfer's way, you either have to eat the whitewater, which means paddling through the wave and you might get thrashed around a little bit, or you're going to paddle around the wave and you're actually going to get in the way of this surfer and either cause an accident, or he's going to have to maneuver around you, which could also ruin the wave for him. By the time he's done maneuvering around you, he's going to continue surfing the wave and you ruined it for him. Now it's all whitewater, it's all closed out, he's screwed. So I think, personally, eat the whitewater if you're comfortable eating the whitewater. If you're not comfortable eating the whitewater, then paddle around the wave. And of course, if there's not a surfer on the wave, of course, always paddle around the wave. You want to paddle around that bowl that we're going to talk about later. And keep in mind, too, that don't be a dick. When I was 13 years old, I was terrified of any wave that was over like 3 feet tall. And I would always paddle around the wave, even if there was a surfer on the wave. And what that did was I would screw up a lot of surfers' rides because I didn't want to eat the whitewater. I was terrified of getting thrashed around. And I had grown men yell at me and want to fight me at 13 years old. So don't be that dick. Just like the last rule here says, help other surfers. That's helping another surfer. If you see a young kid or anybody, even a man that's paddling around and they're getting in your way, they don't know any better, obviously. They're not eating the whitewater, they're not comfortable with that. Be respectful of that and help your fellow surfers and be cool with it. There's so many waves out there to surf, it's just not worth it to get into it with somebody over, hey, you ruined my ride. You could be out there for hours and ride hundreds of waves, so don't stress about it. Rule number 3, hang on to your board. That's kind of self-explanatory. And then the last rule, help other surfers. And yeah, 100% help other surfers. All right, now that surfing etiquette's out of the way, let's head in my backyard and show you guys some stuff. We have dogs. That's why our yard looks like this. So pretty much positioning on the board is key. You don't want to have any drag. So you want to be in perfect position. You see a lot of beginner surfers that kind of sit back like this, and it leans up like this, and there's a lot of drag, doesn't make sense. And you don't want to be too far forward, your nose will keep dipping down. You want to find a spot where your nose and your tail is just out of the water, just nice and comfortable, and just paddling out. So we already talked about how to position yourself on the board. Now let's talk about the ways that you can paddle. So there's a prone paddle, which is like this. There's a knee paddle, which is like this. And once again, same thing. You want the nose and the tail outside of the water. And then kind of a casual paddle, if you're out in the lineup and things start to shift a little bit and you want to just move around a little bit but not get in those positions, it's just paddling like this. I just realized too, this is backwards, but I can point it out to you guys. So pretty much there's the bowl and there's the lineup. This is kind of the drawing, I am no artist, of the ocean floor here. So what happens is, here's the wave energy, and you can't really see it above water here, but there's energy that's pushing towards the beach. Right here would be considered the bowl, which the bowl is not a bowl. It's not like this. It's actually more like this. It raises. When it raises, this energy here now can be seen, and now it turns into a wave. So now let's look at it like we're actually paddling out to the bowl. You never want to paddle directly towards the bowl. If you paddle directly towards the bowl, these waves here are going to constantly be pushing you back, and it's not good. Sometimes you can get away with it. You know, with experience, you can learn when it's safe to go out and when not, because you start to learn how to read the waves that are out here. You'll start to see little ripples and be like, oh, that's a wave coming towards us. If you don't know any better, you don't see that, and then you're going to paddle out to the bowl and you're in trouble. So if you're paddling out to the bowl, that's no good. So what you want to do is, say this is the beach, you want to paddle around out this way and then over to the lineup. The lineup is going to be, it's going to be above the bowl, because you want to have time to catch a wave and then ride it in. Now longboards and shortboards are different. With a shortboard, you can be more on top of the wave to catch it. However, with a longboard, you have more paddling power, so you can actually start out earlier to catch the wave. And where is the bowl, you say? The bowl is pretty much right where you see the wave cresting. So if this is a big long wave here, you're gonna see it cresting right around where the bowl is. So you know, oop, that's the spot. So you want to avoid that spot. Don't paddle out. You want to paddle around and then to it. And also keep your eye out for cleanup sets. Cleanup sets are bigger waves that can happen every now and again, that happen way out here. So the lineup essentially is right here, just above the bowl. So remember, the bowl is actually a raised part of the ocean floor. That's why the waves start to be visible and then rideable, and then they crash and it's done. The lineup is just in front of this bowl, sometimes further, closer, depending on the swell. And remember, typically it's where the wave is breaking here, not so much here. It will eventually break here, but here. This is the spot you want to be. So pro tip though, if you are looking to surf a little bit more and you're not really into waiting for all these waves out here, you can kind of come inside of the bowl. There's going to be smaller waves there and it might be more consistent. So if you can deal with kind of the barrage of these waves coming at you every now and again, then it might be worth it for you to kind of sit inside and to catch the smaller waves that these people outside are letting go. They're saying those are too small, we're not going to get those. And you're in here just surfing away. You're surfing 20 waves to every 2 waves they're surfing. Okay, so you're paddling out, you're going around the bowl just like what I said, and then waves are coming at you. You got a cleanup set coming at you, and you're like, gosh darn it, I watched Paul's video, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, why are there waves coming at me? Here's what you're gonna do. The most basic way of getting through a wave is this, just a simple push up. And you let the wave come through you, underneath, there you go, you might get some water in the face. Typically this works for waves that are smaller and not that powerful. The other way that you're gonna do it, if the wave's a little bigger, a little too big for that, is you're gonna scoot back on the back of your board. I'm gonna burp. You're gonna scoot back on the back of your board, you're gonna saddle it, straddle it, you're gonna straddle it, you're gonna hold onto the rails, and then when the wave picks you up, you're gonna leap to the front of your board, ride it over the top of the swell. I will say, even though this one's a little bit more complex and definitely takes a little bit of experience, however, I actually really like this one. I was out at Swami's charging a 6-7 foot day and actually used this to get over 6-7 foot whitewater that was coming at me. So you're gonna scoop back on the board like this, pick it up. The swell, the whitewater is gonna hit under the board. It's gonna pick the board up, and when that happens, you're gonna leap to the front and ride it over the back of the wave. The other way too to get through a swell, definitely a beginner thing to do, however it is something you can do, is simply straddle your board and just turn away from the wave. So you're gonna straddle the board like this, and the wave is gonna hit you from behind. The other way that you can avoid a wave is to do what's called turtling. This is also a good technique if you think another surfer is, say, riding a wave and is potentially going to hit you. You can do this technique to protect yourself. This has happened to me and my dad and brothers before. What's going to happen is more than likely the guy's board is going to go on top of your board and his fin is going to damage your board. It does happen, it is what it is, but it's better than the board than you. You don't want a fin in your head. So to turtle, you're gonna pull your board, you're gonna go underwater, and you're gonna try to pull your nose down while you're in that position. So your nose goes down and the wave goes over your board, over you. Stay in that position, stay calm. When you think it's good, you're just gonna roll back over, reposition yourself, and keep paddling out. I'm sitting here editing, and I'll show you another way how to go through a wave. So in this technique, you're paddling out and there's a wave coming at you. Another way of getting through that wave, but you're gonna get really wet, is essentially to get up to the front of the nose. You're gonna grab the front of the nose like this and just go under like that. You're gonna push your nose under as far as you can, and you're just gonna hold on and go under, and the wave's gonna go over on top of you. Once you're through, you reposition, and along you go. Ah yes, to catch a wave. This is the hardest thing to do in surfing. But once you got it down, it gets easier and easier. So remember the bowl that we were talking about. It's a raised part of the ocean. But essentially, this is us kind of coming at it. I don't know what I'm doing here as far as drawing goes, but you know, essentially this is that raised part of the ocean floor that leads into the beach. The beach is over here, and then this is just open water. So the wave's coming this way, it hits this spot, the bowl, which is this. Here's where the wave is. This is where you need to catch it. Catching a wave is the most complicated part in surfing because you have to be in the right spot and you have to be positioned correctly on your board. If both those things aren't in sync, you're not going to catch the wave. So you have to be in the right spot at the right time. And the bowl, I'm kind of making it out to be this pinpoint thing, but it's really not. You know, a lot of the time that can be a bowl, right? And you've got tons of guys in the lineup right there. So if this is our situation, you have plenty of room to catch the wave. But you can't be on the outskirts of the bowl. If you are, you're not going to catch the wave. You're just going to get in a really good workout. So rule number one, make sure you're in this space. Make sure that when you look at the wave that's coming, it's cresting in these areas. If it is, you're good. If it's not cresting over here, like the rest of the wave, you're in the wrong spot. You gotta move. All right, so you know surf etiquette, you know how to paddle out, you know how to deal with the surf while you're paddling out, just in case. You're in the lineup, you're near the bowl, kind of in front of the bowl. Now it's time to catch a wave. You see a wave coming, excuse me, you see a swell coming. You see a swell coming, now you're ready to try to catch it. Now once again, you wanna be positioned just right. When you do catch a wave, it's not just about the arms, it's not just about where you're at on the board. You can also position your body like this. So if you're trying to catch the wave and you feel the wave starting to go under you and you're losing it, it's totally fine to lean forward or even pull yourself forward like this and start paddling even more because you're trying to catch the wave. Now the opposite of that is that the wave is picking you up too fast and you feel your nose start to go under the water, which is called a pearl. If you feel that, then you can do the opposite. You can lean back, and if that doesn't work, then you actually get back. Get back and you paddle, and if it starts to pearl, it starts to go, and you wipe out, then you wipe out. So the key to catching a wave is being near that bowl, being in the right position, and then feeling the wave. When I first learned how to surf, my dad taught me how to surf, and when I first learned how to surf, I remember he told me to actually just kind of almost boogie board my way on the first handful of waves, and that's what I did. And I would suggest that to anybody who's watching this that is brand new to surfing. They want to try it for their first time. Just stay on your belly. Don't worry about standing up. Get used to the feel of the wave. The first handful of times it's going to feel really weird, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just get used to it. And what I was talking about, how there's just, you know, outside of that bowl, and then there's the inside break, which is closer to the beach. I actually would just ride what's called the soup, which was just the whitewater. So for a long time, I just rode the whitewater. Every now and again, I would go outside of the bowl and I would catch a wave, ride it on my belly, and then I would come inside. It didn't matter that I was getting whitewater coming at me, because I would just ride the whitewater. I'd ride the soup, just to get the feel of it. The worse surf that you can surf, the better of a surfer you're going to become. That's why we would go out and storm surf all the time, and people would be like, oh, that's crap, that's nothing, but it made me a better surfer. So standing up is just like anything else in surfing. It's position, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter how you go about doing it, as long as you're able to just stand up. I've known a lot of disabled friends over the years who they get up in very unorthodox ways, but they have to do it that way because they're disabled. I knew a guy that almost had to sit, like side saddle on a board. He would catch the wave prone, sit almost side saddle, and then get up on the board. It worked for him. Anyways, here's how to get up on the board. So it's all about positioning, and you're gonna grab the rails. This is kind of the, you know, normal way to get up on a surfboard. You're gonna grab the board, you're gonna push yourself up, put your foot up like this. Make sure you're in a good center of gravity. If you're too far forward, the nose is gonna dive and you're gonna pearl. If you're too far back, you're gonna stall out and stall right out of the wave, and you miss the wave. So you wanna get just right. And sometimes when I'm in this position, if I feel like I'm losing the wave, if your balance is pretty good, there's nothing wrong with still paddling like this. And then you catch the wave and you stand up. Alright, this is the last thing I'm going to teach you guys in this video, is how to turn a surfboard. Pretty much when you start to learn how to surf, you're not really going to turn, you're going to angle. Angling the board to one side, which is just going to kind of do this, you know. Turning is what you want to do. You want to do this eventually. And in turning or angling, you still want to be in the right spot, which is called the sweet spot. The sweet spot isn't up here, it's back there, but it's not too far back there, so it's a sweet spot. So if you're angling, you're going to kind of be on this side of the board, and you're going to kind of angle over. You're going to kind of push like this with your feet, with the balls of your feet. You're going to push with the balls of your feet, angle this way, and the same to get back. But it's not a great, you don't have great control over the board like this, so if you find yourself doing this and another surfer is coming at you, fall off the board, fall off the side of your board, and hang onto your board. Do the best you can. And then there's an actual turn. And the actual turn, like I said, you have to find the sweet spot. Every board has their own sweet spot. So when you turn, you're going to push with here, ease up with this, and you're going to pivot the board with this foot. If you want to practice those techniques, you can actually get a longboard skateboard. Great for practicing these techniques on, including walking the nose, which if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments below. And then this is the way that I turn. The way a surfer that I've surfed with for many years turns, Kevin Misk, and it's called the drop knee turn. It's my favorite. More advanced though, this isn't beginner stuff, which is the typical turn is here, the drop knee turn is here. So if you go to cut back, this is only a cut back technique, is the drop knee turn, not for going whichever way you're suited. This is regular foot, by the way. this is goofy foot. If your left foot is back, that's goofy foot. Right foot is normal foot. Drop knee. And then this is the last turn that I'll show you guys so you can screw around with it if you want to. So you gotta make sure you're actually above the sweet spot with your right foot. So say the sweet spot is back here, and you're gonna switch stance and turn like this. And those turns are for cutting back. So if say your regular foot and you're going right on the wave, if you wanna cut back and go behind you, the drop knee turn, the switch stance turn, that's what those are used for. They're very stylish, and like I said, kind of more advanced surfers use those. I personally prefer the drop knee turn. Alright, I made some notes here before I sign off. In editing the video, I made a little notes of stuff that I wanted to add to anybody who's a beginner surfer or aspiring surfer. Sideways. Never let your board go sideways from the wave. It can flip up, knock your teeth out, knock you out. Don't do that. Bad idea. Wipeout safety. So wipeout safety, essentially, if you fall off the board and you're in the turbulence, whatever, personally what I do is this. The whole time I do this. And the reason I do that is because the board can shoot up in the air and come right down on you. It can also come over the falls. That happened to me at Steamer Lane on a big day. I was surfing my brother's 12-foot surfboard, and I went over the falls. I did not do this. The board came over, hit me right in the head. I'm very lucky I didn't pass out. I had a huge golf ball size hematoma on my forehead. Really lucky I didn't get knocked out. It could have been real bad news. So always cover up, and when you come up, personally, I give it some time because you don't know if the board's still in the air and it's going to come down at you. So I cover up, and you don't know if other surfers are coming at you. So I come up, I kind of look around, I get a bearing, and once I actually visualize my board, then I take my hands off. So I think I kind of covered the basics. If you guys have any questions, or you guys want me to make videos about anything, about how to hang 5, how to hang 10, how to hang heels, anything like that, if you guys want to know anything surfing, leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make a video about it. Also, before I go, you guys definitely need to get Bank Wright's book called Surfing California. I've had mine for many, many years, and it highlights surfing spots across California and gives some great information about those surf spots. Also, if you're planning on surfing, definitely pick up a tide book. Anyways, see you whenever I feel like it.